Bitcoin is going to hit new all-time highs. We're going to see a big liquidation worth over $7 billion US. And in today's update video, I will be exactly talk about where the liquidity is currently being built up in this market, the funding rates that are even turning more negative, and I'm gonna exactly talk about what this historically has meant for Bitcoin and what it's going to be meaning here in the imminent short term for Bitcoin. Of course, I'm going to discuss the most important charts and patterns that we are creating right now, and I am going to discuss all my price targets of the next breakout Bitcoin is about to get created. So without any further ado, don't forget to slap that like button once again back above 1,000 likes. That will be highly appreciated. And with that being said, let me jump straight away in towards the content. So once looking at the imminent short term of Bitcoin, we clearly have been creating a downward sloping trend on Bitcoin, and every single time we've been creating lower highs and lower highs. And right now, for the first time, we've clearly seen that Bitcoin has been reversing this trend, and right now we're clearly creating higher highs once again here, together with higher lows also on the lower side. So Bitcoin is clearly trading in an upward sloping trend on the market. And yes, what we're currently clearly are seeing is that Bitcoin is just in an upward sloping consolidation phase. And yes, all we're knowing is that, of course, right now Bitcoin just saw that breakout of the ascending triangle, but on the bigger things of it all, we're just creating a massive consolidation phase, or we could call a massive bull flag pattern on Bitcoin. So if you're looking at the bigger perspective on Bitcoin on the daily time frame, we've seen the Bitcoin price going up quite heavily in the last recent period in the market. And ever since we went up to 75 or 74,000 US, we of course got rejected, and actually we created a downward sloping resistance line. And if you take that exact resistance line and put it on the lower side, you're clearly seeing that that same level is providing support on the lower side. And all we're creating right now is just a massive Bitcoin bull flag pattern here on the daily time frame. And yes, whenever we either break below the lower side of support or whether we're breaking above the top side of resistance, that is the point where we're going to be seeing massive amounts of volatility hitting the markets for Bitcoin. And yes, if we're going to be breaking out of this consolidation phase right here on the 12-hour time frame, which is also clearly indicating the big support below us and the big resistance above us, if we're going to be breaking outside of this region, we're just going to see large amounts of volatility. But currently, we're just looking at the bull flag pattern as well. And as soon as Bitcoin does decide to be breaking outside of the bull flag pattern, it's got a price target sitting around 94,000 US, which is of course quite insane in terms of a breakout target. And yes, whenever we are starting to be breaking out, it's going to be taking an approximately month before reaching the target. So yes, like we do know, historically speaking, once Bitcoin breaks its all-time high, it goes very fast towards the upside. So it would also make quite a lot of sense that Bitcoin is actually going to be continuing even higher from off this point onwards. And yes, I want to be pointing out is that, of course, I'm expecting that Bitcoin is still going to be boring until the moment we're going to be breaking outside of the region of the downward sloping resistance line, or until we're going to be breaking outside of the region of this red box of resistance, or potentially, worst case scenario, once we break the green box of support. So if that is going to be happening, any of these things, we're going to be having a massive breakout here in the market. And yes, right now still, guys, we are in a bull market, and I believe that we are in a bull market, and I think it's stupid to not assume that we're not in a bull market. So any 20% correction in this stage of the market right now is going to be an opportunity of a lifetime, like you have seen so far, because 20% corrections in this market so far have always marked the bottom. And while right now Bitcoin is actually bouncing back towards the upside, we are seeing something very interesting, and that is that the majority of all the traders out there are actually trading short because the funding rates are negative. And this means that the majority of the traders are actually trading short right now, while Bitcoin is actually increasing in value. And of course, if we're going to be looking about when the last time it was that Bitcoin funding rate was negative, it basically never happened before. But in this last period, since the 13th of April, so in the last 10 days basically, we've seen the Bitcoin funding rates go negative quite a lot of times here. And actually every single time once it did happen, Bitcoin saw a big pump afterwards. So here it went negative, we had a big pump towards the upside. Here it went negative, big pump towards the upside. Here it went negative, pump towards the upside. Here it went negative, not a lot of stuff has happened. And now once again, Bitcoin funding rates are going negative. But I explained it so many times before, but always in a Bitcoin bull market, whenever the funding rates go negative, which was over here, which was over here, which was over here, which was over here. Every single time, once the funding rates go negative in a bull market, it is a signal that the sentiment is, oh, we're afraid again. I think Bitcoin is going to go lower and people are going to heavily short Bitcoin. So that is a thing we need to go higher, because of course, what is literally happening right now here is that the liquidity from the people that are actually shorting is getting used to push up Bitcoin higher. And if we're right now looking at the liquidation heat map, there's literally going to be more than $7 billion worth of liquidations once Bitcoin is going to hit a new all-time high. So there's going to be a massive amount of short liquidations coming up here. And if we're looking at the Bitcoin long liquidations, we're not even going to see $5 billion in liquidations if we fall down to $58,000, which is of course not a lot of money if you compare it towards the upside. And especially in the region 71.6 to 71.8k are the most liquidations. And 71.8k is also that exact level right here where more than $2.8 billion in Bitcoin short liquidations are laying. So I've said it so many times before, Bitcoin always follows the liquidity. And since right now the liquidity, majority of the liquidity I should say, is getting built up above us, I think that we're going to be getting a push towards the upside as well. And it's going to be inevitable that Bitcoin is going to take out the liquidity. And yes, I have been saying it literally since the bottom. I've been saying it at the bottom that of course Bitcoin always follows the liquidity and that the majority of the liquidity was being built up on the top side and nothing is changing so far. So if you want to be benefiting from any of the big breakouts that are going to be happening afterwards, because yes, as soon as we do break outside of these regions, guys, we're going to get even more faster moves. If you want to be trading that, go to the link description of today's video where you can currently go towards this link right here. And if you press that, you will be able to get a free $200 trade on Bybit. All you need to do for it is click that link below, press on register to claim, and if you then deposit $100 in your first 7 days on your Bybit account, you will get a free $200 Bitcoin or Ethereum trade on Bybit. And of course, if you place the trade correctly, you're going to be even get more free money. So if you're interested in free money and if you're interested in making money in general, make sure to check it out in the link description of today's video where you can find a link to Bybit and where you can claim that free $200 trade right now here. So all we're waiting for right now is that next bull flag breakout here. And basically, we're just seeing an enormous consolidation phase. And this is basically calm before the freaking storm, because Bitcoin is about to be getting some very, very crazy moves here, which I believe are really going to be happening any moment right now here. If I'm also looking at the daily time frame, looking at the EMA ribbon, you can see that clearly Bitcoin, all the indicators, not only the EMA ribbon, but also the RSI, but most of the indicators have been significantly slowing down here, giving us also quite a lot of room to grow back towards the upside. And we've even created many hidden bullish divergences on the lower side since the indicators have been resetted so significantly. So Bitcoin is looking very good for growth. And just like I said earlier in the video, and just like I said so many times before on the channel, always once the halving happens, the most gains are realized afterwards. And in the coming 6 to 12 months, Bitcoin is going to go towards $200,000 and beyond. I believe that. And if we're going to be looking at the timeline, it also makes sense that is going to be happening. And if you're going to be fading Bitcoin right now, you're going to be missing out on the most gains in the market, which I don't want you to. I want you to make the most amount of profit. So yes, guys, make sure to look at the liquidation heat map. Make sure to look at the funding rates. Everything is lining up. Once again, we're seeing the entire playbook in front of our eyes, and we need to be paying attention towards it. So this was it for you in today's update video. If you did enjoy, don't forget to slap on that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.